Okay, so for the 20th anniversary of Mononoke-hime's release, they re-released it in theaters, and I took my friend Matt to see it, and I learned something very new about myself. Mononoke-hime, directed by Hayao Miyazaki, starring Yoji Matsuda and Yuriko Ishida. I first saw this movie when I was 13, which was more than half my life ago, and I just this one time realized I don't like the movie. I don't know what it was. Well, I do know what it was, so I'm going to tell you what it was. Usually, watching it, I watch it in the English version with the Billy Bob Thornton in the cast and Claire Danes, and especially Keith David. He's a major draw for me. But this time, because of scheduling, I had to go on the night where they played it in Japanese with subtitles. And I usually love Japanese with subtitles. I try to do that exclusively if I can, but normally watching the movie, I'm allowed to just get lost in the visuals, watch the action without any kind of hassle. But this time, I was forced to actually read what everyone was saying and find out whether or not it actually made sense, and it doesn't. And it's funny because I told this to a guy who'd seen it before, and he's like, "You didn't know that?" And I guess it's just not supposed to make sense, but it really fucking doesn't make sense. Because, like, the plot goes, Ashitaka is from a village of weirdos that are for some reason different than everyone else in the country. And one day, a boar god who's been infected by a demon host attacks his village. So, in the process of killing the boar god, he gets a little bit of goo on his arm, and it starts to consume him with a curse, and which will eventually lead to his death. So he goes off on a quest to find the origin of this mysterious iron ball they found in the boar god that, I guess, put the curse in him. It's not real clear on how curses are transferred to this. But he goes, and along the way he meets a weird priest who in the English version is Billy Bob Thornton. The first time I saw that, he was pretty much the only actor I'd heard of. Honestly, I didn't even know who Claire Danes was until I watched Good Will Hunting like 2 years ago. But yeah, so he meets a weird priest, and the priest leads him to the village of the Ironworks, where he makes friends with the village, and then he goes off into the forest and like makes friends with the forest. So he's friends with both sides. You can kind of see, well, you can really see how no one's really at fault here. It's just the fact that there are gods in this. It muddies the whole thing. You can't expect anything to play out logically because there's these bullshit gods in it. And this is one of the stories that uses the Japanese Shinto god system, kami system, and it really expects you to buy it, and I couldn't. You know, if I was just mindlessly watching it, yeah, it's fine, but I was forced to read it, so I had to pay attention, and it's just so dumb. Eboshi-sama pisses off everyone. She's the lady of the ironworks. The boar gods are attacking. The ape people are attacking. Samurai from nearby villages are attacking because she just pisses off everyone. But she's really nice. You know, she buys prostitutes from slavery and she lets the lepers be her gunsmiths. She works really hard to make her town happy at pretty much the expense of everyone else. She doesn't give a shit about anyone else. The titular heroine, Mononoke-hime, his real name is San, although it should be San character, which is a French language joke. Probably only the second one I've ever made in my life. She is a human who for some reason lives with the wolf gods and will never forgive the humans. Under any circumstances, she'll never forgive the humans for what they've done to the gods in the forest. But she's in love with Ashitaka for some reason because everyone told her to, basically. Moro, her mother, who sounded like a man in Japanese, very different than Gillian Anderson. Moro tells her you have to go back to the humans. You're a human. And she's like, no, I'm not a human. And then at the end, she straight up says to Ashitaka, I love you, but I can never forgive the humans, so I'm not going to live with them. So they got to live on two separate things. It's fucking dumb. Ashitaka's boring as hell. There's no reason. Maybe San is a perfect match for him. They're both boring, non-existent people who are just attractive. And you know Ashitaka's attractive because everyone fucking tells you every chance they get, all the women. Toki was the only like good character. She was like the main woman because you got to see her role as in the town at her job with her husband. You got to know her, and she was fun. Unlike most of the people in this movie, she was actually fun. Yakul, the red elk that Ashitaka rides, he was also a pretty good character. No lines, but a lot of personality. And then at the very end, nobody learned anything. Not one person learned anything. I was very disappointed with my early birthday present to myself this year.